Well, hey there, guys. It is the one, the only Jersey Girl. And thank you guys so much for tuning in for this edition of Jersey Girl Cozy Niche. We had a wonderful discussion last week, and I'm looking forward to us continuing our discussion this week with the lovely panel that we had from last week. But of course, before we jump into all of that, y'all know I got to go ahead and pay some bills. Besides that, we got to have some good music going. So I'm going to go ahead and y'all already know I'll do. I'm looking at you here, but I'm also over here at the same time. Why? Because I got to make sure that my stuff is going. So hold on a second because I went ahead and played this snippet. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to hear it. So I'm going to make sure that I play it so then that way you can hear it. Okay. Because this is exactly what I was speaking of last week when I was talking about April Mason and the comment that she had made during a particular interview. And so I want to make sure that I go ahead and play this so that way you guys can actually see where all of this actually started from.
Please do not address me as a strong, independent Black woman. It's
yeah. Let's go ahead and rewind that, honey. What she said?
Compliment. I never hear a man that is raising children alone say, I'm mom and dad. He never becomes overly feminine because he's raising children. But we as women become overly masculine because we are raising children, because I'm mom and dad and I got to do all these things, right? And now I put extra stuff on me. And then I say, ain't nobody helping me. Well, nobody told you to do that. There is help available, all because I was trying to overcompensate for what daddy wasn't doing. I didn't have to be mom and dad. Now they got Mr. Chris and Mr. Eric over here. And I took them to be a part of different organizations because when you think of something strong, you do not think of coming to the aid of it. So when we are looked at and walk around as strong, what we're putting out is, I do not need assistance. I don't need your help. So anytime a man says, oh, I love it, you're so strong. I said, no, I'm not strong. I'm resilient. I'm not independent. I'm interdependent because nobody ever comes to the aid of the strong person. So when I'm around men, my wrists are broke.
Okay. So just as, as I was speaking of, I love that she said that when you think of something strong, you are not thinking of coming. So when someone says, oh, you're strong, a strong Black woman, like she said, please don't call me that. That is actually a backhanded compliment because you typically don't go to the aid of the strong one. And so, we have the thing out there saying, check on your strong friends, those that you consider your strong friends, because most people don't think to check in on them to make sure that they're doing okay and make sure that they're doing all right. But that check-in is needed. Okay. And like I said, the definition of what is strong, when you think of a strong animal, you're thinking of an elephant, a rhinoceros, a lion, that's something very strong to be able to carry stuff. You don't think of a mouse, okay, because you don't think the mouse can carry anything. But this is what the discussion is about. And like I said, the lovely ladies from last week, although the camera's cut here, we were still cutting up behind the scenes. And so that's what I'm going to be introducing to you guys, obviously tonight. But of course, we got to make sure that we do what? Pay some bills, baby. Yes. Okay. So these are all the different ways that you guys can be able to go ahead and follow me on all of my social media, Facebook, obviously. Okay. As well as on YouTube. Once you guys get active over there, I am on Instagram. And of course, on TikTok, yes, we are climbing, and we will be there very, very soon. Yes, we will, to go live on TikTok. And of course, you can be able to shop at Jersey Girl Cozy Niche, Jersey Girl Cozy Niche.com. Okay, I had to slow it down. Jersey Girl Cozy Niche.com. Okay. Because I gotta make sure that y'all get over there. Okay. We gotta make sure that y'all can get over there to get into all the good stuff. And I want to be able to show you guys one of the newest things that's been added to Jersey Girl Cozy Niche, the store. Okay. So y'all know the holidays are coming up. Okay. And so we got some great stocking stuffers in the Cozy Niche. Okay. Jersey Girl Cozy Niche. So check this out. Can you see? Okay. Look at this pretty eye. This is an eyelash case, okay? And it's got a mirror on it too, okay? Look, you can even see yourself. And on this side, we just have this and, let's see the colors and stuff on here. So you can't see because my lights are so bright. But this one is my hazel eyes, okay, on my brown eyes. But you definitely have some other color options that you can be able to select from. And this is on the website in the exclusive edition, okay, tab of the website. So you go ahead and jump on in there, because this is perfect for your makeup girl. Okay. For a stocking stuffer. Okay. Just something real cute. And of course you got to have a mirror, because you got to check and make sure everything is everything. Okay. So yeah, she's very cute, compact, easy to go ahead and stick in the stocking stuffer. Price only $10. What? Yeah, I got that for you. Yes, I do. So let's go ahead on and get started, so then that way you guys can join the conversation that we had last week. Okay, and we are back here at this point in time, continuing our discussion on Superwoman. She died. I think that is a word all in of itself. She is tired. So let me explain to y'all exactly why this particular discussion was important to me. I was actually watching Yvonne. I can never say her last name correct, so I'm just going to say Yvonne E. Okay, she's a comedian. And so she was talking about how these songs are a trap. Okay, so let me play a snippet, so then that way y'all can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because it was ever so relevant. And I said, this is not the first time that I had actually heard this. I have been hearing it at different times. And it was just like, you know what? This is so very true. I know that Black women get it a lot, to say, oh, that's a strong Black woman. And it's just like, okay, what other nationalities, what other races are carrying that crown? Okay. Because I don't think that it's fair, but at the same time, it's something that we were made to do to an extent. Mm-hmm. And then something that is like a badge of honor that we have worn for a very long time. Like, oh, that's a strong Black woman. But then it also takes a negative connotation as well. A strong Black woman. In comparison to women of other nationalities. And then the conversation that shifts when it comes down to it. If they're making the decision to date or marry or have children with someone outside of their race that's not Black, then it's like, okay, well, then that's when that connotation of a strong Black woman is taken in a negative direction. It's like, well, other women, they can be of Asian, they can be Caucasian, they can be Hispanic, doesn't make a difference. It's like, other than the Black woman, these women are more accommodating or more soft when it comes down to it. And it's just like, so why is that perception there? Do you think that other women of other nationalities are not strong? So how does that translate over? Go ahead, Deanne.
Well, what I'm going to say about it is, I believe it is because people don't have a diverse friendship. I grew up in it. So I've always seen, and I don't even want to go ahead and say the strong, just from even watching shows, when it seems like when a Black woman wants to speak up, they're aggressive. And that's where the negativity comes from. And I believe that is from people not ever really having friendships with people outside their own culture, not realizing they just, you can get to talk. Why is a Black woman aggressive when she comes off the same way I am? It's not fair. And I think that's due to people not blending and not understanding other cultures. All of a sudden, they've left their little white privileged neighborhood, that they've been in their whole life, and get out in the world. And so, that's kind of aggressive for me. When if you were in it, or if you really appreciated other cultures, you would see they're just trying to get their word out, just like the rest of us.
So what do you have to say to that, Monique?
I agree to that. I also think it has a lot to do with how we were portrayed in America throughout history. It's always been Black people are angry. And it goes back to slavery. So the whole portrayal this whole time in history, especially in America, it's been portrayed that Black people are just angry. They're aggressive. Not just the women, also the men have been portrayed that way. I know in Africa, they portray us as as no good. So I'm not saying all around the world, but just in growing up in the diverse culture, it's always been pinpointed that black people are bad. They're aggressive. They're, if you see them walking down the street, you got to go the other way because they might rob you or something, So, the women, are angry because they're single moms. It's always been portrayed that a black woman is tied to just strictly being a single mom. It's other than the shows that I grew up watching, The Cosby Show and Family Matters. It was, we're always portrayed as we are being raised as by single black women. And that all the burden, we have to be mom, we have to be dad, we have to raise these kids and this, that, and another. So I think history has portrayed. And so the people that don't grow up around diverse cultures or around black people or anything like that, they don't know any different. So what does society do? They go along with what they've been fed through media and, and history books and everything over time. They're fed this, so it must be true because everywhere I turn, it's a negative indentation of the black culture.
How about you, Tracy?
Well, I think my mom was as white as they get, and she was as angry and aggressive as anybody can get. So I never really associated that with any particular culture. I just associated that with my own mother. So I just worked hard at trying not to be that way. Now, don't get me wrong, I can hold my own with the best of them. But I just feel like I look at that and I think how many times I tried to talk to her and say, if you were just nicer, people would want to listen to you. If you weren't so angry and accusatory and aggressive and mean, people would want to listen to you. And I felt like, if you want to be heard, don't be like that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Be someone that people want to listen to
and interact with.
Yeah.
I totally agree. During the time frame that I was living out on Hawaii, it was very interesting. I love talking to people. I talk to anybody, okay? And I love talking to people and people from different cultures and backgrounds because, like Deanne said, if you're so closed-minded and it's like you don't get an opportunity to be around other people, you don't know. And so growing up, like I said, the area that we lived in, it was definitely a racist town. That town for sure. And then even within the black community, it's a lot of racism, even within how dark and how light you are and what your grade of hair is. But moving out from there has been absolutely wonderful. One of the things I'm grateful for is high school was that our board of education was predominantly Jewish. So we got Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We was, hey, Benadryl, we out of school. But it's like, so yeah, like Deanne was like, having Italian friends, baby, listen, going over to a spread was a spread. It was like Thanksgiving all the time.
Feed you.
Sanka coffee, okay? Like you want some Sanka? And getting some Intamin donuts.
Oh, that Madamans. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Crumblies on top.
Yes. Oh, so good. And getting the good bagels. And so it was like getting a chance to be around people of different nationalities and those that were Portuguese and stuff like that. And so it sparked an interest in me where it was like, okay, I'm not limited just with, the people that I live around and that I'm around to talk to other people. So when I lived in Hawaii, some Samoans, they were considered the black people of the Hawaiian culture. And their perception of what black people were is what they saw on the TV. And that's what they thought we were Real Housewives of Atlanta. They like for real, Dan, like really. They was just like, oh, you're like Nene. I'm not like Nene just because I talk and I express myself. And I didn't even have blonde hair, girl.
Uh-huh.
I was like, just because I'm expressive, I'm an expressive black woman, or it's like, they be like, girl. And I'm like, where we come up with that at? Like, not all black women talk with.
Right.
But again, it's like what Monique said, it's the perception, and they just were not used to that. So their idea of what black people were is what they were seeing portrayed in the music videos and Love and Hip Hop and all this. It was just like, that's not reality. And so it was just like, you know, oh, we're scared of the black man, but at the same time, we want to be with the black man. But you black women are definitely aggressive and very angry and territorial. And it's just like, how sway? Because
I think
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
Yeah,
because they can be able to meet people in my family that look like y'all, wouldn't even know that we in the same family.
Mm-hmm.
Until Caitlyn opened up her mouth. I'm like, yeah, she got wavy hair, green eyes, and you thought that you was gonna be able to come for her, and she ain't going for that. And I'm like, so in your mind, this is looking like a white girl, but she may look that way, but that's not her natural. She's mixed with things, but she identifies as black, and you're thinking that you're getting that, but you're not. And she's here to tell. I'm like, it's a woman. It has everything to do with that woman. You can get it no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, it doesn't have anything to do with that. So what were you going to say, Monique?
I'm like, you guys are all from up north, so I grew up here in the South, so everybody was very, like, for me, I didn't fit in anywhere because it was a constant battle between blacks and whites and Mexicans. And so that's the majority of the people that were down here. I didn't see my first Puerto Rican or run across my first Puerto Rican until I was grown, you know? So a lot of the North and South things, y'all were blessed to have those diverse things, and like being around the Jewish community and things like that. Here it was just cut and dry. If you weren't dark down here, if you didn't look black, you weren't black. I played basketball. Oh, well, you use a white girl brush. Well, what's a white girl brush? Like, I don't get it. Or some of my white friends, when they would find out that, I had black and Hispanic in me, then I wasn't allowed to play with their kids. And it was like, we all went to the same elementary, middle, and high school, and it wasn't until now that I'm grown that they're coming around and they're like, oh, but growing up in a household where your parents are, Confederate, people and races, then, so it was very different growing up down here versus the amount of acceptance it is up north.
Wow. There was a good analogy that one of the ladies that I follow named April Mason gave. She said, we need to, as women, stop putting that banner on ourselves. So she said, so when she goes out, she says, oh, baby, when I get on the plane, she said, my hands are broke. They're broke. So she said, and I love to tell them, like, oh, could you put it up there? She said, and they love it. Could you use your strong muscles to go ahead and, put my back on there? She said, that's something so she's talking about dating, but overall, what she's saying is that when you think about an animal to carry something, so if it's heavy luggage, what animal would you say in order to carry luggage, what type of animal would you expect to do that? Would you expect a mouse to carry luggage?
Right. No.
Mm-hmm.
Would you expect an elephant to carry luggage?
Mm-hmm.
Elephant,
animal, zebra.
Yeah. But the thing is that that's what we do when we keep saying we're strong, we're strong, we're strong. What they're visualizing are strong animals: a rhino, a camel, a horse, an elephant. Like, oh, you got it because you can be able to take it. So that's when she said, oh, no, I go damsel. Oh, I can't do it because you ain't going to be asking a mouse to carry your luggage. So, and then, I was taking a look at a movie called Harlem. And that was one of the things where it was like, you're a strong black woman. And she ended up in the hospital because she passed out. She ended up having some fibroids, and they were like, oh, you need a blood transfusion or whatever. And her friend was like, well, why didn't you tell? She was like, because you're always a strong black woman. You don't say nothing. She was like, well, I can't let y'all see me weak. And it's just like, yeah, to keep perpetuating this, that we have to be strong, we're actually giving people permission to continue to keep us in a position where we feel like we got to put on a cape. Go ahead, Tian.
I will say, but that's one of my things too. I can't show weakness. And I don't know if that comes from my father, it's like, because when you show weakness, people come after you. You don't show weakness, you are strong, that you keep it above, you handle it. I also, because of coming down here and not having family and my ex's family not helping, I give one opportunity to ask for help. You say no, I never ask you again. So I learned never to ask for help. I was doing it on my own, because you know who I can rely on? Me. I can't rely on anybody else. And so I think strength came out of that too. So maybe in a white house, in another way, I had to be strong too, because you ain't going to falter. You ain't going to fall. Even if you are just, a ditch digger, you're the best one and you're strong and you're going to do it. It's the pride of family on that one. And so I will say that, at least in my household, I grew up in a neighborhood, you had to be strong all the time, because I don't know if the Italian, you got to look for weakness, or something. You just can't show it. So maybe where I was meek at home, but on the streets was a different thing when I got older. When I was younger, it was a different, because the bullies and everything else. But it was, and I think I'm even stronger now.
Gotcha.
One of my mom's favorite phrases when we were growing up was "suck it up." And I wasn't aware I had any other alternative. And I feel like even now, how many of us just suck it up because it is what it is and we don't feel like we have an alternative? So you just go on sucking it up.
And where I think the difference is, society, white society, will sit there and then call black women aggressive because of it, and then white women crazy.
Didn't think about that one.
Yeah, because when you're crazy. I mean, it turns into the crazy
or dramatic. They'll say you're dramatic.
Well, they say the same thing for Latinas too. The whole stigma on Puerto Ricans is they're crazy. You know what I mean? So the women again have to be strong. I think it's that way across the board for women. I was told to suck it up. You gotta, you have to do this. You have to handle it. You can't show weakness. Don't let a man run over you. Don't let a man do this to you. A man will only do what you allow him to do, type thing, and if you gotta, cook dinner and take care of your kids with a baby on your hip, that's what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? And if you have to cry, you cry in the shower, you cry in your pillow at night, but don't let nobody see you cry.
Yeah.
But I think women have a whole lot more in common than different.
I think that's a good point. So for y'all coming from I am one of 4. So what do you guys come from? We'll take a look at small family, like your immediate family, like your mom, dad, siblings, and then we'll take a look at your larger. For myself, I come from a small immediate family. I am number 3 out of 4. But expanding that thing out, my grandmother had 8, and then my great grandparents had, way more kids. To include, my dad's side of the family. So how about you, Deanne? Small nucleus, larger family, or
one of 3
family and even larger?
Yeah, one of 3 oldest, all girls, all sisters. And there is almost 6 years difference between me and the next, and 10.5 months between them. And I did not like it when they came along. They ruined a good thing.
10 years by yourself, yeah.
Like 12.
How about you, Monique?
I am the oldest of 3. Both of my parents are, my mom is the baby of 5, and my dad is the 4th out of 5. So both sides grew up with 5 kids.
Okay. Now, how about you, Tracy?
I'm the oldest. I have 2 brothers. My mom had 1 sister and 1 brother, and my dad had 2 brothers, and he was the middle child. So between both both sides of my family, I had a total of 6 cousins. That was it.
Oh wow.
So
You
just a
think
small.
you think that had any impact on you guys to say like in thinking about having a family? Like, did you take that into consideration how many siblings you had and just say like how many you wanted? Yes, no.
I wanted a lot of kids. I couldn't have them, but I wanted a lot of kids because I just craved that whole family thing. And like I said, my first husband, he was one of 5, and I mean, it was just a huge Hispanic family, and everybody was always together, and I just wanted that big family,
Mhm. How about you, Deanne? Being the oldest out of 3, did that make you want to have a lot of kids? And
I'm trying to think back. I knew I wanted children. I know what I wanted in the way that my life and my divorce went and how my life ended up. JJ, I knew was enough there. And then it was so long till ago, so that was it. But then, do I wish I would have had more? No, I guess because of money struggles. I'm one of those people, if you don't have, for me, it was if I didn't have the money, don't, I guess I always knew God was going to give me a whole lot. I love having a lot of grandchildren. You give me more of those. I'm on 6. I got 6.
well, how about you, Monique?
I'm trying to remember. I know I always wanted an even number of kids, but so when I started having kids, since I only have the 2, I know I wanted at least 4. I wanted 4 kids, but any more than that, nah. I like the idea of having a big family. Even at one time when I was raising 5, I loved it. I liked having the personality and the noise and I like that. I like the noise. I didn't like the quiet. So yeah, I'd say 4 would have been my max.
Now the funny thing is that my mom had a total of 4 and I'm 3. So my older sister, my older brother, and I, we share the same mother and father, and all 3 of us each have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. Except for my sister, she's got 2 boys and a girl. But all 3 of us had 3. Then my younger brother, my mom obviously just had him, and he just had 1 child, and that was it. So it was like the number of kids that we were from our parents is the number of kids that we had. At first, when I was younger, I wanted to have, like 22 kids because I wanted to have more than my great grandparents. And then I got wise and realized that wasn't going to work. Actually, the realization came when the pain happened when I went into labor with my first, but I was already backtracking off that number. Because as much as I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert. Like I remember being in the house with all of my cousins and my aunts and my uncles. I remember being in a bunk beds where it was head feet. There was 4 of us in a twin bunk bed top.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was a lot. And it was just like, I would go outside to be out in the country to climb a tree, just to get away. Okay. So I was just like, I don't want them many kids. It was great being able to have all my cousins and stuff around. That was fun. But when I wanted to get away, it was like I wanted to get away. So when I just kept backtracking, thinking like, I don't think I want a whole lot of kids. Mm-hmm. And so being a middle child, I got to see how my older sister was. And again, what I'm saying, the looking through the eyes of a child. Typically that firstborn, this Deanne's so much responsibility and Monique so much responsibility is put on that first. It's basically like they're the second mom. And I gave my sister fit. You hear me? Look here. I was that one baby. Look here. I was that one. My mama would say the sky's blue and I'm like, it's black. Just because I didn't want to agree with her. Got my own personality. I got this. So I'm like, you imagine me having a whole bunch of me's running around? I ain't want no parts of that. No parts of that. So coming from a large family, a lot of times families got a lot of input in what they have to say about you in dating. So, and what's going on with your life. A little bit too much sometimes coming from a large family. Do you guys feel that your families were supportive of your dating and marriage? And can you take a look within your family and be able to see certain patterns within your? Okay, so of course we had to hit a stopping point because guys, it's already 8:00. Don't worry, like I said, last week I said it's a whole lot to unpack. So this is not, it was not going to be the only time that we got a chance to talk about it. And as you can see, we definitely go ahead and we divulge some more things, because a lot of what we are experiencing now, you have to understand that there was a location that it came from. There was a starting point somewhere. And the starting point definitely had a lot to do with what you were around, what was modeled, what did you see? And so we're going to continue to have this conversation in regards to what upbringing was, what the modeling was for these different women, and actually how that impacted them and their decision making and who their spouses are. And overall, how they see themselves and how they also viewed their mother, because your mother really is the woman in your life that is raising you, is definitely the very first impact that it's had. Okay. And so we're definitely going to get into that. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Make sure that you tune in next week, because baby, it's going to be part 3. Yes, it is. And I look forward to seeing you guys then. Okay. So good night.
Wraps it up for this edition of Jersey Girl Cozy Niche. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with us. Make sure that you hit that bell, the notification bell, so that way you can be notified every single time I go live or upload a new video. Because the YouTube channel is where you get your steak, potatoes, desserts, and drinks, baby.